Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to the segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. We continue with Bhavan Akari. We're on the 44th stanza, and the recitation is as follows. Salok रोस न काहू संग करहो अपने आप विचारी होए निमाणा जग रहो नानक नदरी पार पौड़ी हरारा रेन होत सब जाकी तज अब मान छुटे तेरी बाकी रण दरगह तो सीजह पाई जो गुरमुख राम नाम लिवलाई रहत रहत रह जाए बेकारा गुर पूरे के शब्द अपारा राते रंग नाम रस माते नानक हर गुर कीनी दाते. So the Guru is instructing us on how to get to the dargah. This is that threshold of consciousness between ego consciousness and you could call it universal consciousness, between the ignorance of the ego and the wisdom of the self. How do we get there? And his instruction, Rosna Kahu Sangh Karahu, do not be estranged from anyone. a-sabad-a-day, live life in humble self-reflection. Hoye nimana jag raho, Nanak nadri par. In this way, grace will carry you across the flow of life. Hoye nimana, remain humble in humility. So, in this world, humility is essential, and it is the humility of self-reflection. Therefore, be not estranged from others. Rosna Kahu Sangh Karahu. Only then will your affairs be successful. And the letter of the alphabet that is being considered is Rara. Rara, and from the word rain is formed from Rara. Rain means dust, and dust, as you know, is symbolic of humility. So that's really the lesson. Rara rain hot sab jaaki. Renounce your attachment and be humbler than dust. Rara rain hot sab jaaki. Taj abaman. Renounce your self-image. So you see, we all have our own self-conception, which we receive through feedback from others, from the environment. It's a feedback loop that informs our mind about our own self-image. So what the Guru is telling us is that what we think about ourselves as to who we are is really contrived. It's not real. It's an idea that has been fed to us over a period of time, and we come to believe it. And that is the ego, the conditioned ego. That is the self-image that the Guru is advising us to renounce. Taj abaman. And then, Taj abaman, humility, self-reflection, Shute teri baki. Only then will the ego crumble. You see, when we demolish the image that has been created for us, our conception of ourselves, well, the ego will crumble, obviously, since it's nothing more than a collection of these images. The Guru says only then will a glimpse of that universal consciousness be possible. Ran dargah to seeche pai. Dargah literally means a threshold, a place where two different states of being come together. It really means the state where the ego is crumbling and the essential self is revealing itself. That point. So to get to that point is what the Guru is instructing us on. So he's saying, be a Gurmukh. Jo Gurmukh Ram Naam Livalai. Attune your mind like a Gurmukh does. Be Guru guided, in other words. Attune your mind to the self. And in order to do that, you have to follow the teachings of the enlightener. Guru Pure ke a-sabad-a-day. Wisdom. You have to follow that instruction. You first have to absorb that teaching. And then through consistent practice, rahat, you remove the psychological barriers of the mind. Rah jai bikara, rahat rah jai bikara. Bikara alludes to the modifications of the mind, the sensory modifications that are happening constantly without a stop, which is why the mind cannot see beyond the barrier of thoughts or ego. So you have to be consistent in your practice of this wisdom. And it is only then that the Har Self, in its grace, gifts us with the love of wisdom. Nanak Har Gur Kini Date. Here the Har and the Gur are almost synonymous, and in fact they are synonymous. So once we have the gift of wisdom, we become imbued in a higher consciousness. Ratte Rangadam Ras Mate. So that's the way to do it. Humility is being stressed here. And as we talked about in the last passage or two, humility is epistematic humility. Namely, to empty yourself of whatever preconceived notions you have about yourself, you see. So you think you know yourself, but the fact is you really don't. And you have to accept that and begin to dismantle that abstract structure called the self, the ego self rather, to reveal the self. On that note, until the next time, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.